Hello, friends. This is Dave Hurwitz, executive editor at ClassicsToday.com, here with a big box of Respighi on brilliant classics. Now, some of you in the comments have asked for me to talk about this set, and I've said before that there are better performances of some of the things in there, and so I wouldn't necessarily recommend getting the whole box, but, I think it deserves further consideration. It really does, because it has 8 CDs. It claims to be the complete orchestral music, and as with most such such claims, let me get that straight, it's nonsense. It is absolutely, completely, totally untrue, because they have left out some things which are truly orchestral, like the Ballad of the Gnomes and the Belphegor Overture, which is not it's an independent work as opposed to the opera Belphegor. And they haven't included orchestral works like ballets, which are theatrical, like the suite from Belkis, Queen of Sheba, which as a suite is certainly an orchestral work, and also La Boutique Fantasque by Rossini. I mean, it's arrangements of music by Rossini. And if they can include Rossiniana, there is no reason not to have La Boutique Fantasque. So complete, this is not. But it still contains 8 fun-filled CDs of Respighi, and I have lots of musical examples, courtesy of Brilliant Classics, so that rather than just listening to me categorize it, you can decide whether or not you like it. And I might add, these 8 volumes are available separately, so you can go for the ones you like, or you can get the whole thing. It's very inexpensive. It costs something like $30 or something like that. It's a good deal. It has a nice little booklet. Here's the booklet. And let's talk about what's on this disc by disc, so that we can all decide what we want. Yes, I can't decide what to say, but you can decide what you want. So, disc 1, Pines, Fountains, Roman Festivals. These are not the greatest performances out there, but they're good. They're solid. Francesco La Vecchia, the conductor in all these things with the Rome Symphony Orchestra, which is what it is. Yes, right? Yes. It's the Orchestra Sinfonica di Roma, the Rome Symphony. He is a slow conductor. I don't mean slow necessarily in a bad sense, but he tends to prefer tempi that are deliberate, and you may or may not like that. I, on the whole, tend to like it. I like the fact that although his tempi are relaxed, he is still very rhythmic. And in this music, there's so much happening. There's a lot of color, and you get to hear a lot of detail that's kind of fun. That's why I would not say that this disc of Pines, Fountains, and Festivals is my favorite or the best one out there. But you will hear things here that you don't usually get to hear. And the slowness is never boring. I don't mind slow, as long as it isn't dull. And you'll hear exactly what I mean shortly. But that's Pines, Fountains, and Festivals. Disc 2 contains The Birds and the Suite for Strings and the Suite in G for strings and organ. Now, these are early works. They date from the early, first years of the 1900s. And they're not great. I mean, they're nice. They're nice. They're not really distinctive. They're attractive. They're pretty. You'll enjoy them. They're nice, relaxing sort of music for strings, but not full of personality. The Birds, on the other hand, is a masterpiece, and it's deliciously done. Again, at relaxed tempos, but you get to hear a lot of the otherwise blurry details. So, you may like it. Disc 3. Aha! Now we have some interesting stuff. This has, really interesting stuff. The Brazilian Impressions, which are fun, and the 3 Botticelli pictures. I love the Botticelli pictures. In fact, I am going to play you the opening of Spring, La Primavera. This is how wonderful this music can sound at a slightly slower tempo than we're used to. Quite often this gets just raced through because it's spring. It's ha, 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 spring, right? But this actually is a tempo that, it seems to me, gives the music not just joy, not just happiness of spring, but also a real sort of, rustic, outdoorsy, peasant-like a little rough and ready. Oh, it's great. It's just great. So listen to the opening of Spring and you'll see exactly, or you'll hear exactly what I mean. Glorious, isn't it? I mean, usually this piece is done by chamber orchestras, and it always sounds kind of light and toy-like. And I mean, that's beautiful. Don't get me wrong. I love the piece. I don't care what they play it with. But now to hear it done with that sort of beefy, big sonority, I think it's terrific. But you also get the church windows, which are also kind of interesting. Here you get to see how a slower tempo might be a little too slow. Here's the opening of the second movement, St. Michael the Archangel with his flaming sword, and that I think could stand to go a little faster. Also, the recording does not have a great organ. You really need organ pedals in this, and they don't come out so well because wherever they are in Rome, it's an Italian organ, I guess. I don't know. Usually with performances with the British, they have those big wah, 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 wah organ pedals, that give you that rumbly bass in your gut, and you don't feel that here to the same degree. Maybe it's more authentic. I don't know. Here's a bit of St. Michael, the Archangel. So there you go. That's a little on the heavy side, I would say, wouldn't you? But what the heck, So let's see. Disc 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yes. Disc 4 contains, this is a fascinating work, the Concerto a Cinque. This is a genuine concerto grosso. It's a real neoclassical concerto grosso. The soloists are oboe, trumpet, violin, double bass, piano, and string orchestra. I think it's a great piece. It sounds so unlike the Respighi we know and love. In fact, The problem with Respighi is that once you got out away from the big, glittery orchestral blockbusters, nobody much cares for anything else that he did. Like most Italian composers, he really wrote operas, bunch of operas that nobody listens to. Remember, there was a whole series of them on Hungariton? It was a very good series. Nobody cared. Nobody cared at all because his operas were actually rather dull. And, maybe they're not. Maybe I should listen to them more. I don't know. But most of them are not too thrilling. Let's put it that way. Although they have wonderful moments, without a doubt. And he's kind of, for that reason, everybody goes, oh, it's Respighi. If it isn't one of the Pines or Fountains or festivals or one of those chamber orchestra things like, the, Hoogies, the Botticelli pictures or the birds, nobody much cares. But the Concerto a Cinque is really quite a good piece. And here is a bit of the finale. Get ready. It does not sound like what you might expect. Different. Neoclassical. It's a good piece. It really is. Then you get the Poema Autunnale for violin and orchestra, which is, autumnal sounding. And the Concerto all'Antica for violin and orchestra, which is also quite fun. No one ever plays it. It's a good piece. But these are self-evidently restrained and evoking older styles, and I don't know. I guess maybe other people did it better. I have to say, there are some gorgeous concerted works here. For example, CD 5. This contains the Concerto Gregoriano for violin and orchestra. I think the Concerto Gregoriano is a masterpiece. Kill me now. What can I tell you? It's a wonderful, wonderful piece. This is performed by, let's see, who's the violinist? Vadim Brodsky, it looks like. Yes, Vadim Brodsky, who is gutsy and also a little rough and ready in spots. But that's not the point. The point is it's really a beautiful work. And I would play some of the slow movement, which is an andante espressivo. And ooh, espressivo it certainly is. Have a listen to this. gorgeous. Absolutely gorgeous, isn't it? It's wonderful. A beautiful work, and it deserves to be performed so much more than it is. And then there's the toccata for piano and orchestra, which is 25 minutes long, roughly. It's a serious big piece of concerto-like length, and it's lots of fun. It really is. It's just fun to listen to. I mean, it's zippy. It's got lots of glittery piano writing in it. Then we get, let's see, oh, yes, CD 6. Ah, yes. The Sinfonia Drammatica from 1913-14. This was after his period of study. You know, Respighi studied with Rimsky-Korsakov, which is where he probably got some of his zippier ideas. And in fact, he quoted Rimsky-Korsakov at the end of Festa Romana. You know, the shipwreck in Scheherazade? And, you know, Festa Romana does the same thing at the end when it's going straight out of Scheherazade. So you know where it came from. Well, this Sinfonia Drammatica is in 3 movements. They're long movements. It is completely formless. Yay! But in the best possible way. It should be called the Sinfonia Melodrammatica. It is just this big, greasy hunk of excessive romantic stuff. That's what it is. It is so much fun. I love the ending. The ending is a funeral march. It's as smarmy and cheesy and trashy and all in the best way. I mean, really in the best way. Listen to the ending. Here's the ending. This is just great. And it's done really well here. And I might point out, the tempi are not unusually slow. They are completely consistent with the other versions of the work that have been recorded, of which there are only 2 or 3. So this is really a nice thing to have. Isn't that just irresistible? Oh, I love it. It's just so pointlessly noisy. My God, you gotta love it. Then we have the Fantasia Slava for piano and orchestra, which is sort of like a Slavonic Rhapsody for piano and orchestra. And let's see, we have 2 more discs here. Oh, yes, the Ancient Airs and Dances, very nicely done. Does anyone not do them well? I haven't heard it. I'm going to do a separate talk on those, I think, but you get the point. I don't know why. They're all good. Just go get one. But yeah, I mean, another absolutely fabulous work. One of Respighi's arrangements of older music. And, you know, he doesn't get any credit for it. But everyone talks about how, like, the neoclassical era began when Stravinsky did Pulcinella sometime in the mid-19s. You know, Respighi was doing a lot of that stuff, and he did some of it earlier. He was a genuine neoclassicist before neoclassicism existed, and Stravinsky gets all the credit for it, but Respighi did it, and he did it awfully well. Let's not kid ourselves. And you also get Rossiniana, but not La Boutique Fantasque. Don't ask me why. It's very nicely done. And finally, we have disc number 8. Oh, this is another wonderful disc. You get the Concerto in Modo Mixolydio, the Concerto in the Mixolydian mode for piano and orchestra, which is absolutely wonderful. Absolutely wonderful. Which is the Mixolydian mode is what? It's the G mode, right? Because it's Dorian, Ionian, Ionian, Dorian, Phrygian, Lydian, Mixolydian. Yeah, it's the G mode, is the Mixolydian mode. And it's absolutely marvelous. And then you get the Metamorphoseon. This was the work that was commissioned by the Boston Symphony for its 50th anniversary. It's sort of the Enigma variations go to Italy and have a very nice time there. It's another very, very beautiful work. And this is a good performance of it. It's gotten no bad performances. There are about maybe 5, 6 of them now that have come out. And it's a theme and variations. And it's absolutely beautiful. It deserves to be played frequently. There's no reason not to play it. It's beautiful, beautiful music. And this is a very good performance. So, on the whole, let's see. Those are the 8 CDs. Now, as I said, all of this music has been recorded before. There is a big Respighi series on Chandos, for example, but they haven't been smart enough to put it in a box. So until that brilliant thought occurs to them and they offer it at a decent price, this is your best bet to get a big box of Respighi. And since it's so inexpensive, if you don't know most of these works and you don't want to spend a fortune just to hear them, and you like Respighi, and with the caveat that you should not expect to hear the Respighi of the Pines and Fountains of Rome in all of these later pieces. They are far more austere and much more involved in sort of the Gregorian modal style, because that's what Respighi's wife Elsa was doing. She was a modaliste, and so she was not a model. She was a modal. That's what she was, and so she got him into all of that apparently. And his later music reflects that interest, as do his operas, which is one of the reasons why they're so uninteresting. But you should definitely give this a shot if that perks your curiosity. You won't be out a lot of money, and the performances are very serious, and they have character. You may not like the character, but it's character. What can I say? Anyway, keep on listening, folks. Thanks for joining me. Take care.